How we doing? How we feeling? Good? Just about through Ignite? Excited for tonight? Show of hands, who's going to Universal? Okay, come on. Come on. Really? You're not going to? Okay. Who's going to Harry Potter Land? So, new Jurassic Park ride? Okay, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about this, but you know. So thank you for coming. Today, I'm very excited to talk to you about the future of OneNote. My name is Ben Hodes. I'm a PM manager on the OneNote team, and before we get going, they say, we've got to do a couple reminders and things like that, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I did not remind you that a cloud notebook is a happy notebook. Just right off the top. Okay, let's get into it. Previously on OneNote, updates. We've been working on a lot of updates. Just so here's an eclectic smattering of things we've been up to since maybe the last time we talked, if you haven't seen lately. Import into OneNote for Windows 10, being able to get your local notebooks into the cloud quickly and easily. We're knocking that one out. Never a better time to start migrating to Windows 10. Speaking of OneNote for Windows 10, how about sort? Let's have a round of applause for sort. Maybe 10 years, took 10 years, but you know what? Hey, better late than never. You get to sort by date created, by alphabetical, so this is fantastic for when you want to find something that you just worked on, sort it, go. Navigation. Navigation has been getting better all the time. In OneNote for Windows 10, we've got this now. It's coming. It's on Mac. We're continuing to improve this, and we're really proud of how this has been moving along. Hey, default printing in Windows. So when you go and click Control-P, right there, you don't have to install anything separate. It will allow you to print right into OneNote for Windows 10. It's a fantastic little thing, but it makes a big difference. Thank you. I love that one. Hey, how about you want to talk ink? Ink on iPhone. So this was something we released. And of course, as is appropriate, the immediate next question was, well, what about ink recognition on iOS? And we're getting there. We're going to get there. Step one, ink on the iPhone. By the way, I love when we're doing, other booth events or things like this. I love to play tic-tac-toe with people now. Like I got on my phone and it syncs lightning quick. It's fantastic. Math, for those educators among us, and if you don't know, OneNote has a ton of good built-in education features. One of them is the ability to handwrite math, have it be recognized, and solved. This would have been fantastic when I was in school. It makes homework a lot easier. Unfortunately, the problem is it makes homework a lot easier. So sometimes educators desire to turn that off for, say, test-taking scenarios. Hey, this is a fan favorite. Cloud files. So with this feature, with this consolidated file upload, what we allow you to do is take a file, drop it right into OneNote Win 10, Mac, uploads it to OneDrive, and gives you a beautiful little preview right there. So the file isn't locked up inside of that OneNote notebook. It is on OneDrive. You can reference it outside of OneNote. It's a nice feature. Hey, navigation, but what's this? In OneNote Online? Fantastic. You're going to see this in Teams, OneNote Online, just that continual evolution of our navigation. We have Recents on Mac. This is another one that's been a long time coming. Again, bringing everything in line. We have, this is rolling out soon. This is sticky notes inside of Outlook. So sticky notes, which are a part of OneNote, if you're unfamiliar. So the sticky notes that are on your Windows 10 desktop now sync everywhere. They sync into Outlook. They sync in through Exchange. They're available in the new Office app that we just launched at Ignite. They're available, and of course, they're available in all of your OneNote clients. And so if you've got your phone, pull that out, update your latest iOS OneNote, you'll see sticky notes right there. This is a fantastic thing, and we've been working hard to make sure that we get notes everywhere. Whew. That was a lot. But it's okay, that was previously on OneNote. What about today on OneNote? So it is not an exaggeration to say that we do enjoy the privilege of serving millions and millions of customers who have unique needs and have unique ways that they choose to use OneNote. And I mean, spend some time at the booth, like I do often when I come to these conferences, and it is overwhelming the amounts of different ways that every single person in this room uses OneNote to enrich your lives and do better things and organize and all that kind of stuff. And it's that passion that we've been listening to over the past year It's that feedback we've been listening to over the past year, and we are humbled by that consistent love of OneNote. We hear you loud and clear. You want to have your notes your way, which is why we are announcing that we are extending mainstream support for OneNote 2016. Let's get into some dates, huh? Okay, so continuing mainstream support, what does this mean? You can once I get through the slide, you can snap a picture of it. So OneNote 2016, mainstream support is being extended to 2023. Extended support 2025, this now aligns with Office 2019. Indeed, OneNote 2016 this spring, will return to default installed across Office. Now, what do I mean by default installed? Clean installs only. The most important thing as we go through this transition and we start moving the deployment back into Office for OneNote 2016 is that you have control over what bits are on your machine and your user's machine. So very specifically, if you choose to not deploy OneNote 2016 with future Office installs, that's totally fine. You can use OneNote Win 10. If you want to remove OneNote Win 10 and say, I want only OneNote 2016, that's going to be great. Heck, if you remove OneNote 2016 and OneNote Windows 10, that must mean you have a cloud notebook and you're using OneNote online, so that's fantastic, because a cloud notebook is a happy notebook. So we really want you to have control over your OneNote, because we love OneNote for Windows 10. We are actively still working on OneNote for Windows 10. It is my daily driver. It is my boss's daily driver. It is his boss's daily driver. It is what we use on the OneNote team. We love it. Now, that said, if you have uninstalled OneNote 2016, this is when you can take the picture. If you've uninstalled 2016 and you would like to get it back, you can visit this webpage. We will direct you to the proper version for your machine. Download it, install, log in. Your license will provision everything. You're good to go. Because when we say one place for all your notes across your whole life, that one place is OneNote. It's not any specific endpoint or version. It's OneNote. And that's why we're working to bring that power to everybody, everywhere, the way that you want. Your notes, your way. Whew. Okay, shake that one out, huh? That was a long time coming, but it's a good announcement, and we've been overwhelmed by the feedback to that announcement from our blog post earlier in the week. And we're excited to continue that conversation. But you might be thinking, okay, if that was previously, that's right now today, what about what's next? And this picture that we're actually showing you right here is a picture of version 1 of OneNote. And it's amazing because on the OneNote team, we have quite the OneNote on the OneNote team, literally like our notebook for the OneNote team that we use to build OneNote. It's useful when we're talking to the Teams team, but no, okay. So in there, we have all of our memos and everything from the whole history of OneNote. And something that we often go back to is the original memos and vision of what OneNote was supposed to be and become. And we are still trying to fulfill that mission because it is a really, really, really powerful one. And you can see that even from version 1 to version today, we've been trying to work on that. I am showing you right now something I'm absolutely not supposed to show you. Heavily redacted, of course. What you are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is a detailed schedule, literally from a product review last week. My engineers don't know that I'm showing this yet. But what you're seeing here is a schedule for one of the largest and really important efforts on the OneNote team. We are literally merging all of our modern code back into the legacy 2016 code base to create a unified, single code base that we can ship and deliver OneNote from. And this is hand for the engineers, because this is an amazing thing. I got receipts. The thousands and thousands of change lists are being reviewed by engineers right now in Redmond in order to make this happen. It is a serious, serious undertaking. And fantastic, Ben. Thank you for bragging about how good your engineering team is. Why do you bring this up? I give you roadmap The reason that we are doing this modern merge to get back to a single code base is that we can start to deliver these features in the coming year and a half. So when we look at this, we see modern services. What are modern services? Last year at Ignite, I spoke about how Modern Sync is lightning quick. Modern Sync is coming to OneNote for Office 365. At mentions, we use a lot of Microsoft products as well inside of OneNote, and at mentions is one of those features that we would love to have as well. So in the first half of next year, knock on wood, you're going to start seeing at mentions light up in OneNote inside of Teams for that seamless collaboration. Microsoft Search. I don't need to tell you guys, you're here at the Future of OneNote talk, but the amount of information that is stored inside of OneNotes is intense. And that's one of the things we're trying to do is unlock all of that information, make it searchable no matter where you are, finding what you need. And Microsoft Search is the big part of that and the way that we're going to help the company unlock information stored inside of our OneNotes. Meeting notes. Yeah, I'm a PM at Microsoft. We have meetings. We take notes. And this is something that is a scenario that is near and dear to our hearts. We are going to be working on this a ton in terms of getting teams, scenarios there working. And there are lots of nice features that we can do to make that experience better. I mean, we know who was in the meeting. We know when the meeting was. We have all of that exchange information. We can do better, and we've got that design. Part of that is section sharing. Raise your hand if you've overshared your entire notebook by accident. I'm not raising my hand to make you raise your hand. I'm raising my hand because I have done this. It is an unfortunate fact right now that you can only share an entire OneNote notebook. We are extremely excited to be able to bring the capability to share just a section from your notebook. For example, yeah, no, that's a good one too, huh? I'll take it. Very specifically, you can see the trend here as they're kind of linking together. When you take meeting notes, you might want to share just those meeting notes and not all of the other secret information that got you to that meeting in the first place. So that's why those two things kind of link together. And hey, while we're talking meeting notes, usually, hopefully, if it's a good meeting, action items come out of the meeting. And that's where tasks and to-dos come in. I was thrilled to see, we have been very close with the to-do team out of Berlin, and they have done amazing work getting to-dos and tasks into teams. We're right there with them. Next year, we're looking to get some early stuff out on this, and we know how powerful tasks inside of OneNote linked into the Microsoft task underpinning is going to be. Accessibility. This is another one where previously at Ignite, I had mentioned how the accessibility of OneNote for Windows 10 and the other modern clients was better than the accessibility in OneNote 2016. That's still true, which is why we are working incredibly hard to fix that and get it up to speed. That's another reason why this merge is so important. Instead of reinvesting and in terms of that 2016 client and figuring things out from scratch, with the modern merge, we're able to leverage a ton of the work that we've been doing over the past years directly in to give us a head start. It is still a ton of work. I do not want to say otherwise, but it's something that we've got a leg up on. And then the next generation canvas, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but I feel like there's something missing from this list. Jimmy? I am extremely proud and pleased to announce that as of literally right now, when you saw me texting, we are rolling out dark mode for OneNote 2016 to 100% insiders right now. So after this talk, you want to go ahead and refresh your machine. We're not slow rolling this one. We'll see how this goes. But we just click the button over the next couple of hours. If you boot up your machine, reinstall OneNote, get an update, or connect to the internet, you will have dark mode for OneNote 2016. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Introducing dark mode. So what you see here is you see the exact same kind of dark mode experience that you're seeing in OneNote for Windows 10, in OneNote for Mac, OneNote iOS, soon to be OneNote Android. And I mean, it's the same kind of dark mode experience that you've come to know and expect and love. And just to prove that it's very similar to that, we can see here the recipes. If I switch over to OneNote for Windows 10, same recipes, but let's say that I'm in a situation where over here in OneNote Win 10, this is too dark. I need it to be light. We have a switch background button, which allows you to very quickly switch the background if you're having a problem with content or anything like that. And then here's the very questionable thing. I'm going to demonstrate how dark mode will work between the two clients, because if I come in here and I say, hello, Ignite. What is going to happen now, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, I will direct you. I was too quick. I direct your attention to the happy cloud. This is a cloud notebook, which means it's a happy notebook, which means this tells us that it was saved and synced right then. If I was offline, by the way, it would say saved offline. This is a really important thing for us, which is making sure that you all know their content is safe, secured, backed up. And so now, when I flip on over back to OneNote 2016, you can see already it's synced across, and the ink is highly readable here in dark mode as well as it was in light mode. And you can also see, if this astute amongst you, at the top there you can already see Microsoft Search. I'm not rolling that one out to 100% insiders yet. A couple more things to work on that one, but that's what we mean about the promise of Microsoft Search. Yay! This was the internal thing that we sent out, actually, from Bella, one of our engineers, when we released dark mode. So this is good. This is cool. Yeah, dark mode's great. We're merged code base. That's really cool. We're going to get those features. That's nice, but that's the previously. It's the today. It's the tomorrow. But what are you doing in the future? Because with this merged code base, it's going to take us a while. It's a lot of work. What are we going to do with that power? And this, we might do something, we might be crazy enough to do something just like this.
A simple idea can become something greater when we work together. It's when we're empowered to collaborate without barriers that we can achieve so much more. This is what's possible with the Microsoft Fluid Framework. Developers can use it to build experiences for any browser. Work feels seamless and in sync across familiar Office collaboration tools, enabling collaboration at unprecedented speeds, wherever you are. Breaking down barriers between people, places, and applications. When the framework powers co-authoring, collaboration feels immersive, natural, and smooth. Creators can now join the Fluid Framework Preview. To experience collaboration at hyperspeed, visit fluidpreview.com.
Now, I don't know what screams collaboration at hyperspeed better than OneNote. So we are extremely pleased to announce and proud to announce that we are working very closely with the Fluid engineering team to co-develop the Fluid framework, and that sometime next year, we will be actually debuting a preview of what OneNote and Fluid look like together and what they will be capable of together. Now, this is a future thing. We are on a long journey, but we are very excited with the Fluid announcement earlier in the week at Ignite, to be able to say now publicly for the first time that we are working together on this. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of OneNote. It's a lot of announcements, huh? There's a lot going on there. Oof. So in summary, OneNote 2016 support dates now align with Office 2019 support dates. Additionally, in around March of this year, we will be putting OneNote 2016 back into the installer by default for clean installs. Again, I reiterate, as IT administrators or as anybody else, you have full control over installing it and deploying it or not. We love OneNote for Windows 10. New features for everybody. As we develop features the same way that we're trying to roll them out to all of our endpoints simultaneously, there may be something where one gets it before the other. But in general, our goal is everybody gets a new feature as we develop it. Detailed roadmaps on the items that I spoke about will be coming soon. You can already see if you search for OneNote Roadmap, it's like the first link in Bing. You see that, you filter to OneNote on the official Office 365 roadmap. We're going to get plugged into that. Dark mode is already there. A couple of other roadmap items, such as the announced OneDrive file upload, now backing up OneNote notebooks from your My Documents and other places on your machines. All of that's on the roadmap, and those additional features that I spoke about will be there soon. And of course, dark mode is available literally right now, 100% to insiders. May take an hour or two, honestly, because literally we just flipped the button for dramatic effect. So it might take an hour or two, but check it out in the next day or so. And the future is fluid in more ways than one, apparently. Too soon? It's okay. And if you would like to get OneNote 2016 back, you can do so at Install OneNote on this AKAMS link. And this is where I take my moment to be sappy for a second and say, we build OneNote for the people in this room, for the people outside of this room, for everybody who wants to be organized, for everybody who has something in life where they're trying to achieve more. That's why we build OneNote. And the passion and the feedback has only strengthened our resolve in making sure that we're doing the right thing by you, our users and customers. And so, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you from the entire OneNote team. Thank you for the opportunity to come back here and show you this. It means a lot to us, so thank you. A cloud notebook is a happy notebook. Now, here's the fun part, Q&A. I'm sure we have questions. And so we've got about 20 minutes reserved here for Q&A. We know there's going to be a lot of interest. So, and then, by the way, so what we're going to do here is Q&A now. We're then going to kind of meet with a couple different people, and then we'll be back over at the booth at around, I want to say maybe 2 for additional questions. So thank you very much. Tons of time for questions. And by the way, we do have the session evaluation at the end of this, so if you liked what you heard, or you just liked how I presented it, even if the content wasn't to your liking, I'd love a 5. So thank you so much, and the mics are open. Sure. And I think that the best thing is, yeah, if the mics, are they on? Okay. Do you have a mic on at the, maybe you have to turn it on. Oh, is there no? Okay. Tell you what, in the sound in the back, could we get the mics on in the front for the Q&A? Get the Q&A mics on, please. Perfect.
There we go. Okay, I am kind of a OneNote novice, but I've been using it for a while. Right? I'm not using its full functionality. We are trying to drive a consistent experience in all of the projects that we do. And so is there a way for us to establish kind of a standard company template for an initial set of note-taking, like meeting notes? Could we, a catalog that we could pull from and push, and where would I find that? How to do that?
Yeah, so absolutely. So templates is one of those things that we are working on now that we're kind of getting back into our swing, that we're going to be developing much more robust templating scenarios. But I will say this, that right now, if you have users who have OneNote 2016 installed, what you can do is create your templates and then export a .1pkg file. And that .1pkg, when you import it and rehydrate it, basically creates a notebook Exactly, it's a notebook template. So that's one thing we could do. Indeed, in that notebook template, one of the things you can do is create sections. And within the sections, you can actually set a page template for that section. Okay. So you could go in and say, well, this is the notebook template. There's a meeting notes section. And under there, every time you created a new page, by default, it has the meeting notes template that you have defined.
It's available now?
And that technology is available right now, yes.
Do I have to rehydrate it in fluid?
So that would be, okay, you're doing yours. Appreciate it. What else we got?
I got a question.
Okay, we got him at the mic. Yes, please.
Yeah, first of all, awesome presentation. Love your passion on OneNote. I love OneNote. I have a lot of stuff in OneNote. It's all in OneNote. If you know me and you're looking for something, it's in OneNote, okay? Just sync it to your local machine and then search it, because search works great. But a couple of things that have recently burned me on projects were add-ins. So send a Outlook not working, and then kind of going through this juggle on trying to figure out which one that worked. And another one was Class Notebook. It's available in EDU tenants. And actually, it's available anywhere. You just need to know the URL. But it's only surfaced to EDU tenants.
That's right, yes.
And then you can, when I migrate from tenant to tenant, I get the notebook, but I don't know how to turn it back into a class notebook. So I've had that situation arise, and I don't know how to get support around some of those kind of fringe things. So add-ins and then things like the classroom notebook. And also, when I tell people about the class notebook that aren't in EDU, they say, why can't we have that? Because they want to use the class notebook for safety training, internal training applications, and things like that. And so I just coughed off a big hairball, but I think you're up to it.
Yeah, no, so I'll go in reverse order. So staff notebooks, essentially, so there's a lot of understanding that in an enterprise situation or a structured environment, we have things all the time that resemble the class notebook classroom scenario. Just for example, me having, say, if I have a set of one-on-ones with my direct reports, and each of them have a notebook that's shared with me, or a section that's shared with me, but not necessarily with their peers, because we want to be able to have that, protected communication or content. And so that's exactly the scenario, and that's something that we're trying to figure out how to make work exactly as you identified. There's some special things at play for the class notebook specifically, which is why when you move it between tenants, it's a little bit different. And I would say we'll direct your attention to some of our EDU experts in the back there. We'll hook you up in a minute. And with add-ins, what I would say is that with OneNote 2016 and OneNote for Office 365, they are going to have the full rich add-in support of the rest of Office still. And that for the web, we have web add-ins in that. So the future is bright there, is what I would say. Thank you.
So a question on sticky notes.
Nice. Over there. Thank you. Yes, jumping in. Go.
So we've been trying to use sticky notes, but every time we log in, it doesn't work for a work or school account. It only works with a Microsoft account.
So I personally use it on both. We should figure out what's going on there. We desire to have definitely notes, sticky notes sync both to your personal and work accounts. In fact, we are working on an account switcher to be able to, while staying logged into two accounts, say, I want to see my sticky notes from this account or see my sticky notes from that account. So let's figure out what's going on with your specific scenario at the booth afterwards. We'll get you sorted. Because that should work. Yes. Thank you for the question. Right here, please.
Yes. I've been kind of a proponent of OneNote at our workplace. We've got an infrastructure team that depends on a team notebook that we use it extensively and have for several years. Also created a documentation system for storing what we call run books for new things that we roll out that uses a OneNote template in a SharePoint site, so the library automatically creates a template notebook for our run books. So we really like OneNote, but we are strictly on premises. I just wanted to make that point that we're not in a point to move to the cloud at this point. So we appreciate the extended support for on-premises storage. But I do have a question from a personal notebook standpoint on my Windows 10 system at home. How secure is OneDrive for individual users as opposed to OneDrive for business? I'm a little reluctant to store things there.
Thank you. This is a fantastic question because for me personally, I am actually, incidentally, also the compliance and privacy driver for OneNote. And I can say this with full strength and confidence. I use OneNote at home for my personal notes. I literally work on the team. If there's a body buried somewhere, like that we weren't doing something the right way, I would know about it. And I am so confident in the security and the privacy of OneNote that I have my personal notes, like my vacation planning and the things with my wife and all of our home things, stored in OneDrive Personal. And I could not be more confident in that. And frankly, I'm far more confident in our solutions than I would be storing things with some of our competitors. And that's why I do that. It's fully secure and compliant.
Okay, well, thank you.
The highest vote I can give it is my personal use for me anyway, you know.
Testing. Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to say thank you for going back to OneNote 2016. Awesome. We recently moved a lot of our files from on-premise to online. Most of that went really well, except for everyone using OneNote. It's been quite a struggle where people can't relate to their files being spread out across multiple files and folders and stuff. And when you move it to the OneDrive or something, then it inserts a link instead of having the file, and people are saying, well, this is my file, this is a link, where's my file? The current experience isn't very user-friendly, at least not from, we're getting a lot of negative feedback. So it would be really awesome if that could be cleaned up in some way.
Absolutely. And what you're describing right there was actually, and so when I mentioned the OneDrive backup that we just announced, part of what was happening is that OneNote notebooks, legacy notebooks, were built in a way that was designed for local file shares, high bandwidth access, and over time, once we started moving it more to a cloud-based, web-based infrastructure, we've needed to change the way that we talk to the notebook files. And so part of that, the work that we needed to do, was building in the converters, the right technology, into the migration tools, like the OneDrive backup, like the tools that you can use to move from on-premise to the cloud. And so what we've done is we've developed those technologies. We're rolling out that code to all of these partners so that, unfortunately, what I would say is that, so for your situation, or actually rather fortunately, in your situation, if you were to do the exact same thing that you undertook now in 6 months, it'd be much easier. And indeed, for everybody, it'll be much better because when you see the OneDrive notebook when you see your OneNote notebook in your OneDrive folder, it will not be a link, it will be the actual notebook because that's how the OneDrive backup is taking care of it. So working on it, and by the way, that's not the answer all the way. It's a small piece of it, but I feel you. Thank you for the comment. Thank you. Over here, please, yes.
Yeah, for home use program subscribers, I heard you saying that they needed to, or you would need to do a full install of Office or reinstall of Office. Is that going to be the same way for them, or are you only talking enterprise?
So if you install Office completely clean, OneNote will be there. Mm-hmm. If you just update, every month, we're not going to automatically install it and put it on your machine. Okay. But if you go either in the spring, if you go to the Office install portal, it should be right back there, just like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, the rest of the all the apps. They've been making a joke in the office. They say, "Oh, Ben, what are you doing with OneNote? And we're gonna make you these bracelets that say WWWD. What would Word do?" And the whole kind of point that I'm trying to get to is like, however you install Word, it's how you install OneNote. And so I would say that that'll be an option, as well as any consumer users, any users today can go and install at that link, and it'll install just OneNote for you, and it'll take care of it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
2 questions on tasks. One on the Mac client, the ability to assign a task to an Outlook user is missing. Any plans to add that back in from the functionality that we have on the Windows side? And then 2, the ability to create planner tasks out of OneNote. Again, as you mentioned, we sit in meetings doing notes and whatnot. It'd be nice to have that ability.
Absolutely. Tasks for us is getting into the kind of the task fabric, and planner and to-do and all of the tasks that are coming to comments, as you saw Jeff Teeper just talk about, I think yesterday or today. We're all in on that too, so absolutely.
And one last thing, thanks for the email this morning saying we got our sticky notes for Mac.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Question?
First, very excited. The dark mode and the link to OneDrive gave me goosebumps, so very excited. The one thing I want to know is, as you're replatforming it, The one thing we have a big problem at our company with is people like to go into File Explorer and move stuff around. And one guy decided to take all of the tabs he had in one of his notebooks and create a folder structure in OneDrive, and then move the OneNote sections from his OneNote directory on his C drive into those individual folders. Then his notebook didn't work, or at least it didn't sync. And so is there anything happening with the way that OneNote, because it can Exchange, you can't go out and move your Exchange folders or anything. With OneNote, people can move the files and it breaks the sync. Is there anything on the horizon that kind of helps people not follow down that kind of ridiculous path?
Sure. Yeah, it's a, So remember how I said I'm not surprised anymore by the kinds of things that our users do with OneNote? That one's new to me, but it's excellent. If that was what was working, fantastic. It's too bad it's not working. But what I'd say is that what you're describing is honestly kind of the impetus behind cloud notebooks in the first place. One of the reasons that we push cloud notebooks and we want to say a cloud notebook is a happy notebook is because when it is a cloud notebook, you don't have that opportunity to go into the internals and mess with it. But at the same time, we recognize that by having the cloud notebook there's a spectrum, right? And a cloud notebook is on this side where it's difficult to pass around or use, kind of data portability. And on this side, you have exactly the situation you're describing where it is completely open and who knows what's going to happen. And so what we are committed to doing is finding the happy middle ground, and that's what this announcement is kind of frankly starting to go towards, which is saying we want people to have the power to store notebooks only on their machines or in the cloud, but we also want to make sure that those notebook files or the data there, it makes a little bit more sense. And so that's one of the things that we're working on in general in terms of just data portability is fixing exactly that scenario. So I do appreciate it. What else? We got questions over here, please.
We're an EDU client, and we are embracing Microsoft Teams, but we find the OneNote feature in Teams to be something that we pop over to the app for. Can you tell me a little bit more about your roadmap in Teams and when we will see more full functionality for OneNote in Teams?
Oh, absolutely. So thank you. I didn't mention this in the talk, but Teams is one of our heavy investment areas. Specifically, over the past, I think maybe 2 or 3 months, we have doubled or tripled the performance of OneNote in Teams. Specifically as it relates to load times and switching between tabs performance. So I'd say the first and foremost thing that was important to us is just simple performance and data integrity. So we're trying to nail that. Then what I would say is at mentions, being tightly integrated with Teams. And by the way, when I say at mentions in Teams, we mean that when you at mention somebody in a notebook, that person gets a Teams notification about it. We're leveraging the exact same pipe, and we're figuring out the final details there, but that's a major feature. And I would say meeting notes is another huge kind of collaborative effort that we're working with. And those are the kind of the big things that we have coming, amongst many other smaller things, such as our embedded experience is going to look much nicer in terms of now that we have cloud files enabled, and I could go on, but we're making a ton of progress there, and I think that over the next month or two, as these things roll out, OneNote in Teams is one of our fastest growing endpoints, and we're committed to making it a fantastic experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. First of all, you gave a guy goosebumps, so props to you. What's happening with the OneNote local cache management? That's one of those things that seems like a kind of an architectural holdover from a previous method of syncing. Is that still going to remain in play, or with these architectural changes, what's happening with that local cache?
So the local cache for cloud notebooks is a very important thing for us in terms of offline scenarios. Let's say, hypothetically, you're in a big conference and the Wi-Fi goes down, but you still want to be taking notes because of the fantastic presentation you're watching. In that case, that's when we need the local cache to be able to store those notes and eventually write them back up. But on this topic, I will say, we err on the side of making sure that you have as much stuff as humanly possible when you go offline, if you go offline. The result of that could be that some of you would see that your OneNote notebook caches or the user data profile, it starts to get pretty large. And that's something that we're working on in terms of saying, we look at it almost like a Spotify model, download on demand, or I really want these sections and I don't need these sections. So the first step of caching for us is making sure that these kinds of improvements making sure that everything is on the same modern sync pipeline, getting that merge to happen. And then from there, we're going to be able to make these improvements and do things like adaptive sync, where we only sync as often as you need, only pulling down the content you want. So it's something that's definitely we're going to figure out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, where's next?
My question is regarding Flow, or I guess now called Power Automate. Is there going to be more actions and triggers available for OneNote to be able to go into Power Automate to do what we want?
This is another personal passionate area of mine. Previously in my career, I was lucky enough to be working on the first rev of Power Apps and Power Flow and Microsoft Flow. And so we're closely tied with them. Jonathan Levesque, for those of you who know him, yeah, he's out there. He used to be on my team when we were over there in AI land. And so that's something it's on our minds. And now that we've made that change over to Power Automate, we think there's a lot of opportunity there for us. Please.
So we've been using OneNote as our default company information store for 11 years. Not everything in it is up to date anymore. What are you going to be doing to give us tools for governing, getting rid of old content, discovering rubbish pages that should have been killed but no one can be bothered?
So there's an entire suite of Microsoft information protection features that we have coming. And get me at the booth later because I could talk about this. As I mentioned, I'm the compliance guy, so I love the arcane nature of some of these things. But I will say that things like tagging, things like advanced DLP protection, those are things that now that we're bringing that modern code back in, we're going to be able to offer for OneNote 2016, OneNote for Office 365, much better. I think that there's some very interesting things about the life cycle of information and auditability as it happens to OneNote notebooks. See, for financial services companies, we have very sensitive information that needs to expire or doesn't need to expire. And those are the kinds of things that this unblocks us to allow us to really start nailing those compliance scenarios for some of the world runs on OneNote, including many, many important financial institutions, and you need to get there for them too.
And just a quickie on app mentions. Can we exclude the word app mention from triggering the app mention process?
Yeah, no, me
That's
too.
a right pain in the ass.
Literally, so on the internal team sometimes, like, we write AT or like ats, because no, I got you on that one, yeah. Okay, where's up next? Please.
Is any love being given to the Evernote to OneNote importer?
That's something that we are aware of, we're working on. There are some terms of service issues, honestly, at play there, and we're working with our legal team on that, but we'd love to build importers for absolutely everything. We want your OneNotes in one place for all your notes. OneNote.
I used it before, and the images were not resized properly. And Microsoft was like, deal with it.
There are definitely issues with it. Not beating around the bush on that one. It's something that we gotta figure out. Right here, please.
So thanks for the presentation. I have a question concerning the iOS area. You already mentioned the ink to text recognition on iOS. I'm looking forward to that feature for the iPad OS, and I wanted to know when it's coming. I mean, you guys implemented it in the PowerPoint already. So my users are saying always, why is it in PowerPoint and not in OneNote? I need this in OneNote. So that is one question. And the other one would be if you can implement, like if you write text in the OneNote and you strike it through, that it's being deleted right away, and that, that we don't have to switch between eraser and writing. That would be kind of helpful.
Yeah, so advanced ink capabilities, ink analytics, and indeed all of that, the ink goodness that you are starting to see come out in a lot of the other Office apps. Again, that's one of the things that we're very fervently trying to get back to with the merged modern code base, because then what we're going to be able to do is put more attention into those ink features, put more attention into, some of you may have noticed similarly, Office Lens in OneNote is a little bit different. Business cards isn't there yet. That's one of those things where we're committed to taking the updates that our partners and Microsoft are working on and getting them into OneNote. So I don't know exactly when that's going to happen yet, but what I can say is that this time last year we didn't have ink on iPhone at all, so I'm optimistic. But I thank you for the question.
Thanks.
Where are we going? I think we'll go right here in the back, and then we just got two more, so here we go. Whoever wants to go, please.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
I thought the presentation could have been better. I'm messing with you. It was good. I need an automation tool to convert from 2007 to Win10 OneNotes, so I don't have to file import.
2007.
Yeah, shenanigans.
2010.
Shenanigans.
Get me afterwards. I'm not sure. Those are some older ones. We'll figure it out. That one I don't have a short answer on top of my head. We'll get you though. Okay. Two more. Okay. So go here and we'll jump over there.
All right. Thank you. We have a fan base in Atlanta, so I've got some questions coming in from my team.
Great. Excellent.
He was curious on the roadmap. You talked about the next-gen canvas, and what did that kind of mean? And then on top of that, he asked, with inserting printouts with a large amount of pages, it's buggy currently, as in it locks up, syncs don't work right. Will this new canvas fix that?
So the new canvas that we're talking about is the Fluid framework, totally. And so by making sure that we can work together with the Fluid team, there's a lot more, tons more information out there. And I will say at Build next year, likely, and some other things, we'll be talking more about this, hopefully, software development such as it is. But we'll be showing the capabilities and what that means inside of OneNote. In terms of PDF printouts and sort of large documents, that's another thing performance-wise that we're definitely aware of. What's happening there is we're turning, if it's a longer document, we're turning those into full fidelity images. We're also storing a smaller version of that, so called a web-ready image, to make sure that no matter what client you're on, you can see the printout. So this is not an excuse, this is simply the reason that sometimes with those larger documents, it just starts to kind of churn on those large images, but we're going to work on it.
All right, thank you.
And then I'm over time, but just, you know what, can't not get to you. Last question.
Okay, thanks. I work for a German company, and my iPad's in German, but I take a lot of notes, especially at a conference like this in English. I can't change the language, so none of the spell checking works. I can go on the web and change the language, you go back and type the notes, nightmare. You going to do anything so we can do multi-language support on the iPad?
Yes, I think multi-language accessibility, all of these kind of global and world readiness things are absolutely things that we're working on. And I should definitely say that in terms of German, that's usually one of the, inside baseball, that's usually one of the languages I test with first, because the strings get longer, and so you make sure everything looks good and fits. But we need to do better, and we're going to do better.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Excellent. Thank you so much all for the time. Thank you for coming to our talk, and be at the booth. Thank you.